Hello and welcome. My name is Kieran Shepherd from KGStudio.co.uk, and today we'll be talking about how web design goes straight to hell and 5 mistakes to avoid when building your website. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. First and foremost is mobile optimization. As you can see on the screen, we have a good example of a website that's been optimized for a mobile device and a bad example. The good example, it's clearly structured, top to bottom. There's a nice bold button that is a good call to action. We've spoken about call to actions in my previous videos. If you haven't watched that, essentially it's just something that motivates your visitor to take action on your website, whether that's if you want them to make a sale. In this case, it seems to be booking an appointment with the dental clinic. And on the right hand side is a cluttered, horrible looking website that's not been optimized for mobile at all. The importance of optimizing your website for mobile devices, not just mobile devices but tablets as well, is exponential. You have to be optimizing your site for mobile. In some cases, myself personally, I like to build the mobile version of the site first, and then adjust it to tablet, and then adjust it to desktop, which is something that's made extremely easy using Elementor and WordPress, which are obviously things that I recommend all the time, and for good reason. So if we look at the statistics of why your website needs to be optimized, as you can read on screen, 4.28 billion, that's billion with a B, in the whole world are accessing the internet using their mobile phone. That is 90% of the entire world's population. Point in case, right? I don't even need to go on, but if you're based in America, 274 million users are on their mobile. You cannot afford to miss this audience. Naturally, just because you optimize your website for mobile doesn't mean you're going to get 274 million hits. I mean, maybe it depends what kind of site you're building, but it gives you a greater chance of getting your site out there and making visitors take the action that you want them to take. Again, whether that's hiring your service, making a sale, no matter what it is, your site needs to be optimized now. If you have a website, pause this video, go optimize it for website. Go optimize it for mobile rather. You'll thank me. There is no excuse in 2021 for your website to look like trash on a mobile device. So out of these 5 tips, this is probably the most important one, hence why it's first. So don't forget it. If we move on to number 2 now, it is poor navigation. You know what I'm talking about. You've been on a website, the menu doesn't make sense, there's just elements everywhere. I chose these 3 images, I just plucked them from Google, and wow, they are disastrous. You might think on the first image with the cart, what's wrong with it? I mean, if you take a look, the categories are all over the place. The navigation menu it's not clear and concise. In the next slide, I'll talk about how to make actual clear navigation, but for now, let's just cover these. Again, on the image on the right of that, you've got this A, B, C, D. What does that even mean? It's clearly a political site, but it's a political site, but it's hard to tell. And so if you have visitors coming onto your website and they're confused as to what it is your site is about, or how to get onto a different page, or to find what they're looking for, they're gonna leave it, which brings me to how poor navigation will affect your site, and obviously why you should bloody care. First and foremost is the bounce rate. If you don't know what a bounce rate is, it's essentially when somebody clicks on your website, how quick they click off of it, right? So the higher your bounce rate, the less likely it is that you're going to convert visitors, essentially is what it means. So here, if you have poor navigation, people are going to click on it, be bewildered and click off of it and go find some other business that does something similar to you, right? So that actually can affect your SEO. Again, we've covered SEO before, search engine optimization. I'm sure it's like the buzzwords in web design. You hear it everywhere, so I'm sure you're aware of what it is. But yes, you want to be ranking on Google, and if your site has a high bounce rate with people clicking on and off, Google won't take fondly to that. Not just Google, but Yahoo, Bing, Ask Jeeves, all of these other search engines, they don't like sites that have high bounce rates, so you're less likely to rank. Even if you put in a good SEO plan, you're putting out good content frequently, that will all be a waste of time if your bounce rate is high, and especially if it's to do with your navigation of the website. It's horrible, really, but that's the harsh reality of it. The second thing is UX, which is user experience, right? How enjoyable your website is for somebody to come on and use. Needless to say, having poor navigation, even in just having a visitor slightly confused is not the outcome that you want when building a website and showcasing that. So the way I like to think of it is that your website is essentially your digital business card, especially if you offer a service. So I've worked with painter and decorators, construction contracts, a cleaning business. These things are, is essential that you sell yourself the best that you can, because if your website is rubbish, people even subconsciously will attach that to your business, and so your website's rubbish, the service is probably rubbish, right? So you need to make sure that you're building the websites for your visitors, not for yourself. It needs to be friendly, easy to use, and you'll notice a considerable difference in your conversion, as well as your bounce rate should be a lot lower. And return. So the return in visitors, obviously this basically goes into the user experience. If your website has poor navigation, it sucks to use, nobody's going to come back to your website. It's not memorable. It was a bad experience. Why are people going to return, right? So that's what's up. So how to improve your navigation. Easy. Got 4 easy tips, right? Keep it simple. So for your menus, don't go too crazy. Don't have everything in a drop-down box. This is actually bad for SEO as well, but we'll cover that in a video specifically for navigation. So yeah, keep it simple. Divide categories clearly. So if you let's say you sell fitness equipment, you might sell, martial art equipment. So punch bags, speed bags, etc., and then you might sell yoga equipment, yoga mat, little roll thing, I'm not too sure what it's called, etc. You get my point. So you need to make sure that your user can come on, understand what it is what they're looking for. They can find it easily, and the categories make sense. It doesn't make sense to just have a broad fitness and then put everything under it, or put things that don't make sense together. So you have running shoes and swimming shorts and things like that. Use accurate titles that best describe the page or products. Again, that's basically if you're selling clothing, say clothing. Don't call it. I don't even know how you can mess that one up. I'm sure somebody has though. But you need to make sure that where this section of the website will lead you makes sense. So, like fabrics, I guess you could call clothing fabrics. Don't call it fabrics and have somebody click on that and be confused as to why they're seeing jumpers and such. As probably a terrible example, but hopefully you get my point. And naturally keep it consistent across the entire site. So don't have a different menu on each page. Make sure that your menu is the same across the board. Again, otherwise you're going to confuse your users, and that is something that you don't want to do. Moving on to the third tip, have a clear message. So what does that mean? I'm sure you've been on a website and you've landed on it and you're looking at it, you're like, oh, this is a cool website, but what is it this website is about? What is it that these guys sell? What is it these guys offer? So as soon, and I mean as soon as you land You have somebody land on your website, you want to make it, there is no doubt in their mind they know what your website is about. So if you're a bakery and you're selling cakes, instantly your hero section, the first thing they need to see is, we sell cakes. God damn it, we sell cakes. You know, there is no doubt in the user's minds what it is your website is for. I put some examples on here. A photographer. So somebody, if you're a photographer and you have your own personal website, somebody needs to come on, see that you're a photographer. They're probably already searching for a photographer, but obviously with everything, the more you can niche it down, the more results you'll see. So if you're a photographer, what kind of photographer are you? Are you a nature and wildlife photographer? Are you a wedding photographer? Are you an events photographer, etc., etc., etc.? So as soon as they land on your website, you want the user to be like, oh, he or she is this kind of photographer, right? Online bookstore and travel agency, the same rules apply. You need to make sure that you are getting across who you are without even having the user scroll through your website. The quicker you do that, the clearer it is, the more likely you are to see a result from your website again. So pretty much all of these are, apart from the bookstore, are service-based. So you need to make sure your users understand what it is you're doing. Have a clear message. Number 4, probably my biggest gripe with websites and unprofessional web designers in general is having cluttered pages with element overload, right? So as you can see, the background image is horrendous. I believe it's the same political site that I use for the poor navigation. So there's a lot wrong with this website, basically. But having too many things thrown together, even if the web designer, or if you're building the site yourself, put all these cool animations and cool elements, if they don't work together, it's a waste of time. I've said this before. Your website needs to be more useful than pretty and good looking. You know, you need to make sure that people can take the desired action on your website and not just enjoy, oh, it's a good looking website, but you know, I don't know how to fill out the forms, I don't know where to click, you know, or even just making it too confusing, like we've said before. These are not things that you want to do. A cluttered page with element overload is a waste of everybody's time. Okay, so when you build your sites, make sure, you know, white space is not a bad thing. Make sure there's a nice space between things. Everything's presented clearly, and your user understands how to take action, what it means to take action. You know, are they buying a product? Are they getting a free consultation? Are they going to receive a phone call? Whatever it is, you need to make it 100% clear what it is you offer and how they can essentially get a hold of that offer. Okay, keep that in mind when building your websites. Don't be too bold, especially if you're a beginner. Don't try and go balls to the wall with your design. Just keep it super simple, and you'll find that you'll have a higher conversion on your website. And last but not least is number 5, which is unreadable text and broken links. I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone onto a website and links are broken. I mean, unreadable text is trash. You don't want that, obviously, but that can be fixed by your font choice. Not having everything so cluttered, having a reasonable sized font size. So I think for the most part, the minimum you want it is 16 pixels for regular font and higher for your titles and such. But broken links, oh my God, it absolutely gets on my nerves. Whether that's social links to another page, it's especially annoying if you're going to download something that's going to benefit you and the link is broken. So things like that again, I've put 3 points on the side so we can go through those together just to hit the message home. Not getting your message across, right? So if your visitors can't read what's on your website, they're not going to understand what your website is about, which again goes to the previous points that we've spoken about. You need to make your message clear. So having unreadable text is probably, the best definition of not clear. So you need to make sure that your font choices is correct and fits your brands, fits your niche and your industry, as well as being readable. Maybe I can make a video on fonts. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see in the comments. I've not really thought about it until now. Again, it comes under poor SEO because broken links, Google don't like those either. Google doesn't like a lot of things you'll find as you start to get into SEO, and broken links is definitely one of them. So having those on your website and having multiple of those is, it's not a good thing. And again, a bad user experience. Again, for me, going on a website, clicking on something, hoping it's going to take me somewhere, and then having it, this page doesn't exist, or just not even going through. Not even going through is probably more common than this page doesn't exist. I don't mind a 404 page. That's fair, but having it just take you nowhere or take you to an ad or something horrible like that, it creates a bad user experience. And as we spoke about before, a bad user experience means a higher bounce rate, less conversions, and less returns, which is obviously something that you don't want for your business and for your website. So keep those in mind when building your website. That's pretty much everything I'm going to cover in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope these 5 tips will help you in good stead going forward in your web design journey, or if you're working with a web developer, make sure that they actually have the credentials and skills to do this. There's far too many amateur web designers out there now, so make sure you're hiring a professional. And again, if you're building a website yourself, follow these 5 tips. They will definitely improve your website if you don't make these mistakes. And so, I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll be dropping more videos like this in the future. If there is anything that you want to see, drop that in the comments below. All my links are in the magic box below. And if I can ask you to do one thing from this video, is please go follow my Instagram, KGStudio UK. And I'll be adding a lot of tips on there, and I kind of want to talk to you guys and make my content more applicable for you. So that's everything. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.